everybody. Welcome to the ZiaWoolz StudioBuzz podcast, episode 47. This is about a podcast about knitting and spinning and all the yarny things. And my name is Doug, and I am coming to you from Albuquerque in New Mexico. This is where I live, and also this is where I dye my ZiaWoolz yarns, always inspired by the beautiful desert around me. I am glad you are here, so thank you for coming to watch this little podcast. And first of all, I have to apologize because Mom is here, but there's a but. You know, she speaks only German, so we decided that she will come on the podcast, however, not on the one where I talk English the whole time. I was thinking, for those of you who possibly know her or would like to meet her and see her, you can tune into the German version of this podcast where she was right at the beginning and showed the socks that she has already made since she came here. She got here at the beginning of December. She's been here for about 2 weeks, and we've been having fun knitting and doing our usual Christmas prep and eating a lot of cookies and eating more cookies because some sweet friends have given us the finest. And I thank you for that. Where to start? I have decided today that I wanted to show you something super special, and I am talking about the oldest garments that we still own, that we have made for each other. Something that Mom made for me and something that I made for her, which in fact she brought to America, but so we could show it on the podcast. But even though she's not here, I will show you these, which I made for her. Let me think. Probably about 30 years ago, maybe longer. I should show them like this because there is a left and a right glove. This was probably the first pair of gloves that I have ever made. And Mom was the one who got 2 pairs. There's another pair which she could not find. We're not sure where it ended up, but she thinks it's probably somewhere just at the wrong spot in the house. And the other pair has some embroidery with beads on the back of the hand. And it's just good memories. I feel like I remember that these were so intense to make. Of course, I had a pattern, but they were very demanding, to the extent that I still remember some of the details about making these. I do remember that after putting the stitches for the pinky on hold, that I had to knit 3 more rounds before I started the other fingers. Isn't that weird? After all this time, I do remember that. And the yarn was some yarn that came from the place that my mom used to work for, where they made machine knit sweaters, or I don't know if the fabrics were cut then and then the pieces put together. Probably that's how they made those. Yeah. But we always kind of, Mom always gathered a lot of those. Yeah, there were always some remnants of fabric and yarn that she got, and also some cones. And I feel like this red, I remember it, it's kind of a boucle yarn. You can maybe see a little bit of the texture. And I probably held 2 strands together, and I feel like this was on a cone. Maybe she even got this after the place shut down and she got to keep some of the yarns. So this was what Mom still had and what she brought to show you guys. And check this out. There's a little bit of a hole here. I feel like that's a critical spot always in mitts, where you pick up new stitches, you make new stitches, and at the beginning and at the end. It's like underarms, you know, at the beginning and at the end. That's a little bit challenging not to have a hole. So, but this is the only one that I see. But now to the oldest piece of garment that I still have, that Mom made for me. I ran this morning, and that's why I didn't have it here anymore, even though I already recorded and showed it on the German podcast. But I'm talking about the hat that Mom made me. I have no idea, long time ago, maybe even 40 years ago. We talked about this a little bit because it's a rib. Okay, back to what I was going to show you. I am talking about the hat that my mom made for me probably pretty much 40 years ago. And it looks like this. And the reason it wasn't here anymore is that it is my running hat. I ran this morning, so that's why I took it after recording the podcast yesterday. It's so cool because she used all kinds of leftover yarns from that place that I was just telling you about, where she used to work, and she held the yarns together. Probably, it's hard to guess. Let me show you closer. She must have held at least 3 strands together from what I see, maybe more. And it looks like she just made a square, a ribbed square or rectangle, probably more likely, and pulled the stitches together on top and then seamed it. And the way she seamed it was some of it at so the seam is on the left, on the inside of the hat, but then it's actually meant to be folded over. The seam is, she switched where the seam is. I, however, being a total dork, wear it like this when I run. I love it. Yes. And we talked about this yesterday. We think that she made it as one piece because she probably didn't have the DPNs in the right size. She probably just didn't own the right kind, or a small circular, because it's kind of uncommon for her, I would say. Yeah, my running hat, 40 years old, my guess. Crazy. But there's going to be more about hats later. It's all about the hats and the socks today, I'm telling you. And one more nice, fun thing. What is next? Where do I start? It's all in front of me, as you may imagine, as you may guess, because I'm looking right here. So one of the things that I showed you last time, because I was about to start, or maybe I had started, is a hat with the new ZiaWoolz yarn called Big and Bulky. It's an 8-ounce skein, and I dye only one skein at a time. And so I have a rainbow of colors that I dyed a little while ago. And I picked this one to make a hat because I had a pom-pom that I thought would be just fabulous with it. And this is how far I am. I made up the pattern, and I used 6mm needles, circulars, short circulars for the ribbing, and then I switched to one size up, which is 7mm. And the way I did it was 3 knit stitches and 1 purl stitch, because then I continue to keep this knit stitch here in the middle, and then in between it's kind of like a seed stitch type, and it's kind of cute the way the ribs show with this. Sorry, this is better. And here is the pom-pom that I love with this hat. Goes great with this blue, the blue and the brown. Soon, I'm almost done. This is gonna be a gift which will be given on Monday, I think. Okay. Then, you know, I was all about the Christmas socks. Most of the socks are gone. I have finished, let me think, 2 or 3 pairs, but well, I don't think she watches. One of the socks has not yet been gifted to a friend who is in my book club. But what happened was our book club got together, and I had this crazy fun idea that I thought I wanted to gift every woman in my book club a pair of socks. So I asked about their sizes and favorite colors. Some socks were already finished earlier in the year, and I had put them away in a drawer, and I thought, maybe I don't need them for myself, so I'm going to put them away to maybe give them as a gift. And then I got this idea, and so I didn't need that many anymore, but I will put in some pictures so you can actually see the women with their new socks. I mean, everybody, it was so much fun. I mean, we did not plan a gift exchange. It was just a thing that I decided to do, and I just adore them all. I adore the women in my book club, and they're fun and brilliant and smart, and they make me happy. And every time I come home from our gatherings, I am, I feel happy and great. So that's certainly a good reason to give them the gift of socks, even though, with one exception, they're all knitters. But you probably know that I feel that a knitter cherishes something handmade maybe even more than someone who doesn't know how much work goes into it. Yeah. So that all is finished. I've put the pictures for you in here, and then there's more socks, more Christmas socks. There's the Beekeeper's Christmas, which has not been touched, but just for the record, I thought I'd bring it. These will be for me, for sure, in my, it's my towel space, and the colorway, the Beekeeper's Christmas. Nothing happened on these. Then I'm working on a pair for my daughter. Showed you these before. And this is last year's Christmas colorway, which was called the Little Girl's Gingerbread House. And I have not prioritized these. Other things have been more important. So we'll see. I honestly doubt it that they will be done in time for Christmas. I had to start another yarn that, oh, wait. They live in this bag. I just love the desert, cactus, reindeer, cowboy, snowman. That's a good one with a vintage fabric on the back. And I have used that same fabric for the bag that another sock project is in, which is this one. It's a different format that I tried out, and I really like it, where the zipper is on the shorter side. But I always make this. I mean, if you haven't guessed it already, this is one of my bags. I make project bags from time to time. So in this one lives another pair that I'm making for myself. And this yarn was gifted to me by a friend in Germany. She's a sweetie. She helps me moderate the German. No, I shouldn't say. Well, it's a group that we have in an app, which is called WhatsApp, and where we chat in German about the Christmas socks. And this is all about let's talk about the hashtag real quick. Let me think about this longest hashtag that you have ever heard. It's called the ZiaWoolz Christmas Sock Cal 2019. So that's our knit along that's going on right now until December 31st. And Tina, who gifted me this yarn, she dyes yarn also, and she has, so she helps me moderate the group. And when I got the gift of the yarn, I had to cast on right away and start a sock. As you can see, I am not far in, but I started my heel. And they're so Christmassy. And it is so crazy. It's almost like she dyed the yarn to match this bag. I couldn't believe it when I got the package. Well, actually, Mom brought it. I shouldn't say it was a package. It was a gift wrapped present package, I should say. And then 1, 2, 3, number 4, the 4th pair of Christmas socks is in this bag, also one of mine. And I am using my own Christmas yarn from, let me think, 2 years ago. It was called Kiss Me Under the Mistletoe. But if you have seen that colorway, or maybe you own it, yours will be a little bit lighter and more pastelish. Mine, I over dyed because I had something else where I thought, that's so similar and kind of paler Christmas colors. Let me just beef this up a little bit. And I strengthened the tone of the red and the green. And I am holding this together as I knit. And the way I'm doing this is I wound off half of the ball, and since I wanted to knit the same color sequence, let's say short red, long green, short blue, I didn't want to have that reversed, the order. So I wound that part of that half of the ball that I had wound off, I rewound so that I could use the yarn from the outside. Then I lined up my color sections, and you can see here is red on red. Maybe you cannot see, I'm not sure. And then green on green. It does tend to shift a little bit while you knit, as the yarns, they kind of, I don't know, it's something that happens when you knit. They kind of, what's the word? Words are escaping me right now, but I'm sure they are twisting themselves together, and I think that's how it happens, that maybe one color shifts against the other. Don't know. But now you want to see the socks. I'm sure of it. And one of them is already done. I used some minis of, I don't know where I got them, in a swap, that's for sure. And this pair is going to be for my son. And of course, the second one had to have a different ribbing. Get this untangled a little bit so you can see it better. I just turned the heel and I'm down to a stitch count where it's nothing but knit in the round. Oh my goodness. I have made socks before where I held my yarns double. And but this time, this is the first time that I try to keep the yarn in this, that I try to layer the two yarns, two of the same yarn, so they match each other. Did that make sense? I hope so. Normally I've used maybe one hand dyed yarn, and then as the second strand I used leftover little amounts that I just knitted up until I ran out, for example. But I haven't done this in a long time. The way I do it is I am using 3.5 millimeter needles, and I am casting on 48 stitches, so 12 stitches per needle. I do a 2x2 rib as long as I want, and not such a long leg. But my son wears, I think, a men's size 9, and these should be fine. I weighed my yarns, and I should have enough to finish this one without having to put a different color on the toe. So it's looking good, because yesterday when I recorded the German one, I was here. This goes fast, and I'm telling you, if you need a last minute Christmas present, that's the way to go. In fact, one of the pairs of Christmas socks that I gifted, and you probably have noticed it, the bright green, the Grinch green colored ones, those were double knit ones, because I really had to crank those out in like 3 days, because that friend had not planned to come to that book club meeting, but then she kind of like, she decided last minute. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta whip out a pair of socks in 3 days. And it was fine because I did it with double held yarn. Plus, she has the tiniest feet ever. 5.5. That's lucky me. So I call them my song socks, or in German, Dickerchen. That is that. I am wearing a pair of socks, a pair of Christmas socks, which I thought I'd show you and make a fool of myself and try to lift my feet, because it's such a beautiful, beautiful self-striping Christmas yarn, which lucky me won in an Instagram giveaway a few years ago. It's from a Canadian dyer, but I'm sorry, I don't think she dyes anymore. She used to have a podcast too. I don't think she does any of that anymore, and maybe she's not even on Instagram anymore. I think her name was Juliana's Fibers. Maybe you know her and remember her, but that was at the early days of Instagram. And here are these beautiful socks. I just love the color sequence, the dark red and the 2 tones of green, of course. Yeah, really, really nice socks. I know I was thrilled when I won that giveaway. That's everything about the socks. And I did show you all of my Christmas knitting project bags, but I have to show you a new project bag that was gifted to me, which I love so much. Is that not the coolest ever? And this is all about the gifts. It has candy in it. I love these. And it has glitter on the bottom, so thank you. Oh my gosh. There's nothing in this bag yet, except for candy. But maybe I can show you this. Has more of that glittery fabric on the inside with some pockets. Love it. Thank you. So what is next? There's still a pile of things here, but before I get to the pile, let me reach down and grab something that I showed you before, and it is the sweater that I'm making for my son, which lives in this ginormous, beautiful bag that my friend Doris made for me. And this thing has been growing steadily. What I am doing, I can reach down and get those little balls of yarn out of there. So I decided I'm gonna design this sweater like I did another one in spring. For a guy, you want the sleeves to be wider and you don't want the body to be too bulky. That's at least what he likes. And I wanted to use one of my hand-dyed yarns and but it's really hard to dye a sweater amount consistently, and I prefer to dye it all in one batch. But I thought, well, I don't want to mess this up. So he does like stripes, so I decided what I'm going to do is to avoid all the problems of consistency in the dyeing. I will use 3 different colors and divide them up with a block of a dark charcoal with turquoise speckles. I had to sneak in some speckles. So I started from the top down. I shaped the front a little bit with short rows, and I think it turned out great. And I used a 3.5 millimeter needle for the ribbing, and then just a standard raglan increase until I got to the width that I wanted. I did, however, find that my sleeves were a tad wider from the get-go in comparison to the body than I would have liked. So I thought of a quick way, kind of like a design feature, to get rid of a few stitches quickly. So what I did was, under the arm, I decreased 6 stitches rapidly, where I did 2 times 2 together, 1 round, 2 times 2 together, 1 round, and 2 times 2 together, which forms a little bit of a triangle. It's hard to see because my ends are not woven in, so you have some loose stitches here, but you can probably see the little triangle. And then from then on, I did my normal decreases every 4th round. And I am just done with the top 2 colors, and the next one is again another tone darker of this. I thought it was funny because once I balled it up, it looked quite gray, but it's a bluish gray. It looks more blue in the skein. Funny, isn't it? Yeah. And this just catches my eye. That was another sweet gift that just got to me. Isn't that pretty with the little smoky, what was it? Oh gosh, now I can't remember. Smoky topaz something. So pretty. Goes so well with this sweater, and it picks up the Christmas spirit for this project. And here's another cute one that I just got with a Christmas card. This little silver cat marks the beginning of my round on the sleeves. Yep, this is where I am with the sweater. Do you think I can do it by Christmas? I think I can. I'm a positive thinker, so in case you didn't know that. So, socks, you know all about them. The sweater, you know all about it. And now let's get back to the hats. I want you to see how the blue bulky hat looks on my head. You already saw the oldest hat that I own. And hats can be tricky. I'm sure you know that. So let's look at how different hats look on me. And I decided to do this for you and with you for a reason, which will become clear very shortly. So here's this blue guy. Not too bad, I must say, if I keep it out of my eyes. Right? not too bad. I could wear this, even though it's not something, I don't know. I'm drawn towards green and turquoise and orange most of all. Not so much blues. Turquoise, yes. Teal, yes. Orange, orange, and orange. Yes, yes, yes. But I think I'm gonna have to make some changes. You will see why. And maybe you even guess, I have finished the beautiful La Luz hat pattern written by the fabulous Alyssa Latucci, who is pretty much a neighbor, New Mexico neighbor of mine. And she wrote this pattern, and if you know the pattern, you're going to say, wait, that looks weird. And maybe even Alyssa does look at it and says, what did you do? Yes, I missed out on one of the patterns. So this should have another pattern section in here, which would make the hat about this long. This hat fits me. It covers my ears. It's okay, but it does not look good on me at all. And just for a good laugh, I'm going to show you. But beware, this is a beautiful hat pattern, but this hat and my head and my face don't go well together. I've warned you. Do you remember those rubber things? What's the word for them that people used to wear when they went swimming? I think it's that same effect. Not flattering at all, except for when people only stare at the hat and not how it goes with your head and your face. Beautiful yarn, beautiful pattern, not a good match for me. The yarn is ZiaWoolz Chama in a one-of-a-kind colorway, which I love. Next one, the sock head hat. One of my very, very, very early hand-dyed yarns where I did not write up the recipe, but a great color. And good travel memories, because I finished the hat when I was traveling with my husband in Salt Lake City, Utah. I don't know, really. I wore it a lot. I wore it all the time when we were there, but when I'm looking for a hat to wear, this is not it at all. So this again is more of a flop. I have another one that comes with good travel mojo, because the yarn I purchased in New York City on a great vacation, and I made up the pattern, but I did something very fancy. I did a tubular cast on. And the hat, okay, I'll show you. Let me just put it on. No, okay, let's try this again. Can ruin your hairstyle, right? It's okay. I mean, it's a little bit better, probably really just because it's a little bit looser. I feel like everything that's a little bit looser and wider looks better for my face on me. So it's okay, so I do wear it, but also not top of my list. in terms of the order that I gravitate towards them when I need to wear a hat. Here I did great, I think. Nice crown decreases. And the next one, that's one that I wear quite a bit. Again, loose, I like it for myself. The color, love it for myself. The yarn comes with very good travel mojo. Yet again, I bought it in Taos at the Wool Festival a few years ago. Can't remember from whom, but I bought, they weren't there this year. They're not going there anymore, but they had always had great hand-dyed yarns. This is the Graham hat. If you know that pattern, you're gonna see that I shortened it, and also I made the crown more fitting. That's what I wanted. I didn't want a slouchy long thing. And love how it turned out. I feel like this had alpaca and silk in it. It's very soft. Then one that looks truly great on me, at least I love it on me. Look at that color. I am wearing this a lot. What I did here was I don't even think I had a pattern. I think I just guessed it all. A wide ribbed section, then a stockinette section, and I did a 3-needle bind off for the top. That these kind of that the corners come out like this is like in the nature of the shape of the head more than anything else, I want to say. What I used here is, you know, I like to do this. I held 2 yarns together, a wool with a microfiber, super soft, fuzzy yarn. And I made the same hat for my daughter. I ran out of one base color, and that's why you can see I switched the undertone. One of the 2 yarns I had to switch. So that's why there's a 2-tone things going on here. So the last one is another one for a very good laugh, and it's the hat that I love so very much. I made it last winter. I took a beautiful picture of myself in front of the Christmas tree with this beautiful hat when it was finished. Again, I look ridiculous, but I love it. However, this hat is not wearable anymore. You already see the problem, right? You see my head here versus the width of the hat. And I'm gonna put this on, and then I'm gonna show you some pictures that I took the other day for a good laugh yet again. Okay. You know, I told you wider looks better on me, but too wide also not so much. Look at this. It's ridiculous. I cannot. Right? Oh my gosh. And did I ruin my hair? Completely mess it up? Probably. Whatever. You know what I think? This needs to be redone. Because it's so awesome, but oh my gosh, it's almost like it needs half the stitches. I will have to do some serious measuring before I redo this. Crazy. Okay, my friends, what is next? Because this was the part where I make a fool out of myself. Oh, well, the part where I show my hats. I also brought you some new stash. We all love stash, right? Oh, I forgot to show you this. This is how much I have left over from the La Luz hat. It's more than half the skein. However, because I didn't make the hat long enough, I think if you would make a hat with ZiaWoolz Chama, you almost would need a full skein. I mean, or you could make a hat for yourself and then have enough left over for a child's hat. I think these are 53 grams or 54. I weighed it. My mom brought a super sweet package from a friend in Germany, and it is an advent calendar. I feel like they're more well known in Germany, not so popular in America. Maybe they're growing right now because more and more yarn dyers do them. But what my friend did is she wrapped up like German chocolates, like little bath things, like a yummy cream or a shower gel, and chocolates. Yes, have I mentioned chocolates? Yes, and have I mentioned that I love chocolate? Maybe not, but now you know I love chocolate. So give me a calendar with nothing but chocolate, I'm a happy woman. But this one topped it because it also had yarn in it. So from time to time, there's a fat mini skein in there. And these three are solid colored, but I mean hand dyed is kind of always semi-solid. So these are a glittery one. And this is more of a variegated. And I am not going to use them until after Christmas. I'm thinking they're going to go in my blanket. But I got another package. Gosh, yes, I am lucky. And I received these two beauties as a very special Christmas present. Thank you. That was more. There was homemade jam in it. Thank you. I love these. I love this, which has the brown, black, dark drama purple. Check it out. But this is very cool too. Yeah, and then, oh, you know me. I dye yarn, but I also buy yarn. I dye it and I buy it from other people. So after, I think it's all my family's fault because they left me alone on Thanksgiving. I'm not complaining. My husband and my daughter, they traveled together, and I mean, of course, I spent time with my son. I think I talked about it, but then one night I was Black Friday cruising on Etsy, and I came across this shop, and I bought yarns for a an incredible sale price, and because from a certain amount on, you could get it free shipping. So that's what you want, right? You buy more so you get free shipping. So you spend more money to save money, which is kind of like not very logical in itself. I try to explain that to my daughter also. It's not a good idea to buy more things to save a little bit more, because in the end, what matters is you spend more money, which isn't always good, as we all know. But in this case, I did the same thing, and I bought these 3 beauties at this one store on Etsy, and it's called Direful Yarns. I had not ever heard of her. I assume it's a woman, and I believe that this one is a Christmas colorway because it's called Juvenile Delinquent, which I'm thinking it's probably a reference to the Grinch. And it's a Targhee base, 90% superwash Targhee and 10% nylon. I'm not sure I'm going to get to this Christmas, but I do believe I want to make socks. And because my son gets all the things these days, I was thinking of him actually when I purchased this. These other 2, oh my gosh, every time I look at them, I want to wind them and immediately have a piece of garment made with them. I adore them. I'm thinking a large shawl. I have nothing picked out yet, but I'm thinking if I put like this rusty orange in between, I can have like a 3 sections. I don't know. I just, aren't they absolutely stunningly beautiful? They're called Slasher Sock. Yes, both of them. It's what I call my Sundancer base. I'm sure of it. 463 yards. Slasher Sock Doll Face. And Slasher Sock Dr. Frankenstein Penny Dreadful number 4. Wonder what that means. I have not looked her up on Instagram. I should do that. I really love these. And that was my new stash. And that was everything I wanted to show you. I do want to thank you at this point because it's the end of the year and because it just got me thinking, excuse me. It got me thinking about everything that has happened in the course of me recording the podcast. And I do want to thank you. I love reading each and every comment. So thank you for all of your comments. Thank you for being friends. Thank you for sending messages, for participating in the group, for being a friend, for being a part of this community. And I'm with my whole heart, I'm looking forward to next year, and I can't wait to see where this journey takes me, and I mean me as in me with you. And in the meantime, I hope that you have a wonderful Christmas. If you are making Christmas socks, don't forget, do enter them in the ZiaWoolz thread, the finished objects thread for the Christmas socks knit along. And have a wonderful Christmas. I hope you have a lot of, maybe you get some yarn as a Christmas present. I hope if you don't, I wish you a lot of wonderful time with your yarn, maybe a lot of peaceful hours to knit and to spend the time with your family and your loved ones, and have a wonderful start into the new year. And until we see each other again, happy knitting.